Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. I'm Chef Zanjahari here at the ASEAN AI Malaysia Summit 2025. Now, there's a lot of conversation about AI, and among the conversation is, of course, the governance and innovation. But amidst of that, we also were triggered to talk about the AI safety. So to talk more about AI safety, here with me is Dr. Jun-e Tan. She's a senior research associate at Khazanah Research Institute. Thank you for allowing yourself to be free and to meet us today. Today is a very busy day, and I think this is among the very first and big, yet important event when it comes to AI in Malaysia. Even though AI itself is still very, very new, but there's a lot of progress. Especially there's a lot of commitment from the government to push through this innovation, and there's a lot of talk about innovation, of course, there's a lot of governance, but there's not much talk about AI safety, and this is where you're coming in, right?
Yes.
So can you talk about, can you tell us a bit, walk us through what does AI safety mean vis-a-vis AI regulation?
Right. So AI safety is basically a way of considering risks that AI, whether it's safe or not, if it's built properly or not, so that when you actually deploy it and it's out in the open, the technology is safe to use.
Right.
So we're talking mainly about, say, the reliability of it, whether it might have unintended design flaws or unintended consequences, and it is a little bit different from, say, malicious use of AI. Which is like more a security issue. So
Right.
AI safety is more risk of this type.
Unintended.
And out of design. Like how can we make AI safer?
Now, this industry, if we can say AI as an industry, is still very, very new, especially here in Malaysia. How do you bring this conversation into the domain? How does the innovators, for instance, are taking it?
So if we bring it back to like Southeast Asia, because this is an ASEAN AI Summit,
right.
So I think that our priorities might be slightly different from outside of the region,
Right.
because AI safety conversations outside of the region focus a lot on like future harms of AI. For instance, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear (CBRN) risks, or risks of artificial general intelligence or super intelligence. But on our side, we're a little bit more pragmatic,
Right.
and we are thinking a little bit more about immediate harms
Right.
that AI might bring to the region and how we will practically try to mitigate these harms.
So that are the differences when it comes to the discourse of AI safety. This region, ASEAN, compared to maybe more advanced economies. Theirs might sound a bit more surreal, kind of in the movie discussion. Ours are more practical, as you say it. Can you give us a bit of example that we can take forward?
So practical concerns about AI safety would include like online safety issues. So that would look at deepfakes, for instance, or scams, AI-enabled scams. Or it could also look at whether we have enough of data to train proper, models or not. Because if you don't have good data, then you'll end up with models that are skewed and that they won't work as well, right? So algorithmic bias, we are a very diverse region with a lot of existing fault lines. So how do we make sure that AI will not exacerbate certain relations within society?
Right.
So all of these are actually the AI safety issues that we in the region have in mind, and also it reflects our kind of status as users more than producers. So outside the region, they're talking more about frontier AI model risks, because that's a little bit more when they're developing what are the things that they should take care of. Whereas on our side, it's when we're users, how do we make sure that AI is used properly, is designed to be safe to be used,
Right.
such concerns.
I believe there's also a lot of this when it comes to the conversation like this, conversation of AI safety. There's a lot of also debate when it comes to especially guidelines. For instance, does we have robust guidelines yet? I know at ASEAN level there's some sort of guidelines as a like that can help us to rail us in a safe environment. I think we're also talking about Malaysia or national level guidelines. Where are we now when it comes to that guidelines?
So we do have guidelines at the Malaysian level, and we also have guidelines at the ASEAN level. And so if we look at the ASEAN ASEAN Guide on AI Governance and Ethics, I find it to be a rather practical, I will keep saying practical.
Meaning it's not too restrictive?
Meaning that it's actually useful.
All right.
Right. So if you look at the guidelines, the ASEAN Guide, it's kind of a bit of a quick crash course on what you should think about when you want to implement AI at an organizational level. So what is defined as AI, how should you change your organization to sort of incorporate AI, what are the principles that should underline AI use, all of these are addressed. And they also root it down to the AI system lifecycle and also use cases, which is important because you do want to demystify AI. You want to know how it works and where it can be applied on. So that I do appreciate from the ASEAN Guide. And also, lastly, on the AI risk impact assessment template that they have at the very end, I think that that's also something that's quite useful. So for within ASEAN, if any organization wants to apply AI, they can actually use it.
We are going to our first break. And then when we come back, we'll talk about AI Safety Network.
Okay.
There has been conversation among our players in the region, and of course regulators in this region about this network, the AI Safety Network, and how can this be a stimulus to bring this industry forward. And I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to Agenda AWANI, and we're recording this episode in conjunction of the ASEAN AI Malaysia Summit 2025. We're still with Dr. Jun. We are talking about the AI safety. We're talking about AI safety in Malaysia as well as ASEAN region. Of course, this is an ASEAN event. There has been conversation about the ASEAN AI network. ASEAN AI Safety Network. Right. Yeah. How has it been going so far, and what is your expectation? What can we expect from this initiative? Right.
So the ASEAN AI Safety Network is still being discussed. It's at the feasibility study stage, but hopefully it will go through and it will become like a focal point or a network hub for ASEAN member states' national AI focal points. So that is the hope that it will be that network. And I see its usefulness in 3 different angles. One is that it I hope that it will be a key conduit on building AI readiness, because we have all of these different countries at different levels of maturity. Right. So you really do need to have capacity building. And then secondly, within the network, you'll have like a better sharing of information, research, or communication in a more efficient way, right? You have something happens in one country and then it spreads to other countries because there is a network of this information of this new threat, for instance, which is where things like incident reporting will become quite useful. Right? So something happens in, say, Myanmar, and then so all the countries are notified of it. And of course, but a lot of work has to be done on how to define an incident, what are our priorities and all that.
And compatibility across the region.
Exactly. Like to arrive at that with consensus. And the third thing that I see it to be useful is that it should actually foster international collaboration with the other AI safety institutes that are all over the world. Like there's one in Japan, there's one in Korea, US, China. They all have like AI safety institutes. So if we have like a network, this will be the focal point where collaboration can happen with the other institutes.
who sets the standard now?
So that's an interesting question because the standards conversation usually is ISO. So it's a multilateral kind of or a multi-stakeholder kind of platform where industry players or civil society or governments can get to talk about it together. But I also think that the standards conversation is starting to get a little bit fragmented because of different priorities in different countries. So hopefully we will actually keep it together because standards are useful mainly when everyone agrees to them.
Are we expecting a different kind of standard that we will apply here compared to, let's say, the Europe, Japan, or the US?
So I think that right now, for instance, Malaysia is a participating member of ISO. So we actually bring the standards of ISO down to the Malaysian standards level. So it is in our interest to have not that many standards because then when when you want to work on
there will be
compliance,
issue of compliance.
exactly. So that will be cost to businesses. So it is in our interest to actually make sure that our views and our voices are actually input to the standards setting committees and development organizations, at the international level, so that we don't have, like, as you say, many different standards.
Right. Okay. So now, coming back to the more practical conversation, rather, I guess. There's a lot when it comes to technology adoption. There's a lot of conversation that needs to be made when it comes to trust. We had this conversation many years ago, and we just ended recently about the digital and public trust. And now we have to talk about AI, technology, and public trust.
Yes.
How can AI safety help to navigate this conversation to a more progressive and positive tone?
Right. So when we talk about trust, I think we'll have to look at it from the adoption and the governance point of view.
Right.
Because without adoption, then there's no point in governing. But governance will actually spur adoption, right? So for this, we really need to make sure that there is trust in AI, because if there is some scandal, there's some big thing happening that indicates that AI that we use is not safe, and it has happened before, right? Then public trust towards the technologies will be affected, and adoption will be set back. So governance, I see hand in hand with adoption, because it's a more sustainable way. So if you unleash, innovation without safeguards, at some point you're going to have something bad happen, and then the public will lose the trust, and then you have to start, to build that trust again, and that's just a setback. Yeah.
So you're saying that even though while we are pushing positive innovation and adoption, at the same time regulation has to be robust to support the growth. Where are we now?
So when we talk about regulation, it's important to also note that there is non-legal types of regulation and also legal types, right? So there should be like an array of these different types. So right now, the sense that I get from Southeast Asia from the ground is that we don't want too much of a legal type of framework, because we're still kind of waiting and seeing, and the adoption level that we have does not warrant high regulation as yet. So the sense I get is that we have to be agile, and we have to actually build the processes more than regulating AI directly. So like, for instance, if you have an AI Safety Institute, so that institute will be doing research, it will be doing tracking and all of that, and that will actually enable you to, at some point, if you want to regulate, you can do it with information, right? You can do it without being blind about it. So the way I see it is that right now is a really good time to build frameworks and processes and bodies, for instance, so that we can stay on top of where AI is going, and what are the possible risks, safety or security risks that we see.
Right. Okay. I think we are heading on the right trajectory when it comes to this conversation. We have to take another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Malaysia as a leader in ASEAN when it comes to AI? What are the opportunities, and how can we foster a stronger collaboration with our partners in ASEAN?
Yep.
Right, and I'll see you soon. Go away.
Okay.
Welcome back to Agenda AWANI. I'm Khazanah Johari, still with Dr. Jun-e. We're recording this episode in conjunction of the ASEAN AI Malaysia Summit 2025. Now, ASEAN and Malaysia and AI. These are the three keywords that we've been talking about since the last two blocks. Coming to our third block, the final block, I would like to ask you about our positioning as a leader in Malaysia. Does we have any advantage to carve ourselves as a leader in AI or any area, especially when it comes to policy?
Right.
In the region, of course.
Right. So I want to start from the national level. Yeah. So from the national level, I think there's a fair bit of political will when it comes to AI policy and spearheading AI for the country's benefit. So we are actually not only talking about it, we're also putting resources in to push. So like for instance, we gave resources to set up a national AI office, which has been really, really useful because previously there was a lot of fragmentation in what's going on in AI, but now we actually have like a focal point, right? So the focal point is really important because it's able to then bring people together from different interest areas, say AI safety or AI talent, or AI ethics, different types of working groups have come together. And the other part of it is to actually bring AI to the sectoral level.
Right.
So how does AI look when you look at finance, agriculture, health? So a focal point like NAIO, which is the National AI Office, is very helpful to make it like efficient.
Right.
It's a little bit like the ASEAN AI Safety Network thing that I was talking about, which brings me to the regional level. So the ASEAN AI Safety Network, the proposed network, is actually a Malaysian initiative, and I think that is really important. And our role in this is because we're not super in front in the race, but we're not super behind either. So we can sort of see from different perspectives how the technology is going very fast and what are lacking when it comes to, say, the safety conversation or the governance conversation. So the ASEAN AI Safety Network will be the hub to actually uplift the entire ASEAN, hopefully.
Yes.
So that will, that is how I think Malaysia will be able to show some leadership and some lessons learned to other ASEAN member states.
And at the same time, we're also seeing a lot of players in the industry. I've seen a lot of actually businessmen, entrepreneurs have shifted from a more traditional business into AI. How are we harmonizing this conversation, especially when it comes to governance, regulation, and safety?
Right. So on that, I think we had talked about standards. We had talked about the importance of having harmonized standards. So that is something that we need to have. And I think it's good that entrepreneurs are looking into this and startups and things like that as well. But I guess the difficulty is looking for use cases that make sense. And that is where a lot of information sharing and a lot of learning from other, other application areas will actually help uplift the industry.
Meaning you still have to work in a team.
That's where I usually stand.
So that's why events like this are so important, because you're capturing everyone from different industries, even from media, like us in Astro AWANI, to come and have this conversation. Our application, our AI application might be different. For instance, you're in research and I'm in media, and others in, let's say, in health tech. Our application might be different. How we use agentic may be different, right? But for the sake of AI safety and for the sake of the public trust, we have to work together.
I think so. I think we actually need to have a lot of conversations Because ultimately we'll have different visions of what we want to see as an AI future.
Right.
We would have different visions, and we would also have different associated risks. And especially when you go down to the sectoral level, you're an expert within the media side, and then you have other people from, say, agriculture or, say, finance. They will be experts in their own domains.
Right.
And so bringing that domain expertise in will help us understand much more on how AI is going to change things and how to actually adapt to the changes.
And then that's also when we see the gaps in the safety.
Yeah.
Because I might not know why or rather how a banker, the banking industry and finance industry are using AI, and how the kind of risk they are taking when it comes to AI. Now, so in an event like this as well, you also have policymakers, not just innovators and entrepreneurs, pushing the agenda forward for the regional AI safety. This is the first day. We've just been here for, the event just started for the last couple of hours. Yeah. But what kind of expectation and hope you have for regional cooperation like this?
Right, okay.
And how are we going to ensure that this kind of cooperation are not just facade or not just, you know, it can and it should and it has to be a real cooperation to push things forward.
So the way I see it is the ASEAN AI Summit Malaysia is kind of like, it's not a one-off. Right. It's one conversation out of many to come, hopefully. And why is that important? It's important because there are also a lot of global summits happening. For instance, the AI Action Summit that happened in France earlier this year, and the AI Impact Summit that's happening in India soon, that a lot of these conversations will be happening at the global level. Right. So for us, it's important, I think, to have like a pre-conversation so that we can actually strategize on what are our common ASEAN, you know, interests. What are the things that we would want to negotiate for and push for, and how do we connect with our peers in other regions to advocate for, you know, global AI governance that benefits us, right? As the region, so as the ASEAN, you know, Southeast Asian region. So this would just be like a great platform that I hope that is not, you know, for one time. It will happen yearly, and those conversations will then feed into other international fora that then will be able to push for, you know, better AI, safer AI for all.
And this is also the role of researchers like you. To actually listen to all of the conversation and identify those challenges and gaps.
Thank you.
And recommend.
We try our best.
And recommend a way forward. Thank you so much, Dr. Jun-e Tan. This is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for sharing your insights on AI safety, because this is very important. We need to talk about this because this relates to the public trust. And without public trust, it's very hard for us to push forward when it comes to adoption. Thank you so much, Dr. Tan. This is Jun-e Tan. This is Agenda AWANI. We recorded this episode in conjunction with the ASEAN AI Malaysia Summit 2025. And that's all for this episode. I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Khazanah Research Institute. Thank you so much. Bye.